Hey guys, it's Gina and I am here today with a monthly recommendations video. Monthly Recommendations is a new group on Goodreads created by Trina over at Between Chapters and Kayla Rain, and they've created a group on Goodreads where every month they give you a topic and it is up to you to give recommendations for that topic. It doesn't matter how many you give, it's just kind of a way to prompt people to make recommendation videos, and I really like this idea because I'm always kind of torn with how to do recommendation videos, and it's kind of a new thing for me, and I really like watching recommendation videos because you can kind of get a sense of books that you don't really see too often, or books that you do see often but you don't see people talking about, and it's just a fun way to get people interested in new books. So today I have 5 books to show you. 3 of them are fiction and the other 2 are nonfiction, and these are in no particular order. These are just some of my favorite books that I would like to recommend to you that I don't see too often here on BookTube. The first one I have to show you is The Postcard Killers by James Patterson and Liza Markland. I really loved this book. I know there's some stigma around James Patterson and people might not like him so much, but I actually really enjoy his books. They're fun to just kind of escape and get into a different world and a different story, and The Postcard Killers definitely did that. This is one of my favorite James Patterson books. I really loved it, and I read it quite a few years ago, so I'm about due for a reread because I don't remember too much of what happens in this. I have a general idea of where it goes, and it basically follows this detective that is following a string of murders, and these murders are always murdering couples. So it's definitely interesting, and it's very mystery and thriller. So if you're into mysteries and thrillers, I definitely recommend picking this up. I recommend it to anyone looking for a mystery or thriller novel because it, like I said, is one of my favorite James Patterson books. Again, I am in need for a reread, so I don't remember exactly what happens, but I do remember how I felt about it and that I really, really enjoyed it. The next book I have here is a new favorite of mine. I just finished reading it not that long ago, and that is Noggin by John Corey Whaley. This book was so good. It is about this boy, Travis, who gets sick with cancer and ends up volunteering for this medical study where they are going to surgically remove his head and eventually, once the science is advanced enough, attach it to another person's body. And when he wakes up, he's still going to be the same person. His head is just going to be on a different body. However, they aren't expecting it to happen so soon. It happens 5 years after the surgery happens, so he wakes up thinking that he just took a nap and he's still 16 even though he's technically 21, but he is in a 16-year-old's body. His mind is still 16, but everyone around him has aged 5 years and the world has kept going and things have changed. So it follows his journey of trying to figure things out and just adjust to how life is now. And it was phenomenal. It was so fantastic. I really enjoyed it. It's a fun and quick read. I definitely recommend it if you're looking for something unique and interesting, because this is definitely unique and interesting. And the last fiction novel that I have for you today is It's Kind of a Funny Story by Ned Vizzini. This is one of my favorite books. I finally have my own copy. I read it originally from the library, but I finally bought it. It is just so amazing and I love it. It's such an interesting story. It is about this boy named Craig who ends up checking himself into the mental ward of a hospital because he's just feeling down and depressed and he knows that he needs help. So it is about his stay in this mental hospital and him coming to the realization that it's okay to feel this way and that he's not alone and that he actually needs to express feelings more often, and it's going through him making friends with these people in the psych ward, and it's just a fun story. Even though it might sound kind of sad, it's actually really good, and the movie is just as good. This is actually one of the rare cases where I watched the movie before I read the book because I didn't know that it was based off of a book, and the movie was just so fantastic that I had to read the book, and they're just both wonderful. And now for the 2 nonfiction that I have. The first one is Food, A Love Story by Jim Gaffigan. I recommend this to anyone that is wanting to dip their hands into nonfiction. It is hilarious, it is fun, it is light, and it's all about food. Who doesn't love food? I definitely recommend listening to this on audiobook instead of reading it. I'm sure reading it you can get the same humor from it and the same fun, but listening to Jim actually read this was just so amazing because he's able to do the voices for like waiters and his family, and it's just so much fun. I was listening listening to this at work, and there were moments where I was just laughing so hard I had to stop for a moment and compose myself and get back to work. It is just so much fun, and I definitely recommend it, especially if you're a fan of Jim Gaffigan's, a fan of comedy, or a fan of food. This book is definitely for you. And the last book I have here is another memoir, and that is Melissa Explains It All by Melissa Joan Hart. This book was so fun and so amazing and really exciting, and it gets kind of serious at points because it's all about her life, but I loved it. This is essentially just Melissa Joan Hart going through her life and what it was like to be on Sabrina, what it was like to be on Clarissa Explains It All. This was definitely interesting to read and kind of get an insight into Melissa's life because I just love Melissa Joan Hart. I was a huge fan of Sabrina the Teenage Witch when I was younger. I really loved Clarissa Explains It All, and I really enjoyed her newest show that she just wrapped up, Melissa and Joey, on ABC Family, and all of the movies. She is just so fantastic, and I am a huge fan of hers. So if you're a fan of Melissa Joan Hart, I definitely recommend this book because it was interesting to kind of see inside of her life and get more info of what it was like growing up in Hollywood and growing up as Sabrina the Teenage Witch, as well as with Clarissa Explains It All, and it was just fun to read. And that is all I have for you guys. Thank you so much for watching. Let me know in the comments below if you've read any of these books and what your thoughts are on them. These are all definitely some of my favorite books, and it was fun to talk about them, so definitely let me know. I hope you guys are having a fantastic day. If you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up and subscribe, and I will see you guys next time. Bye. And the phone. Wow, double whammy. Yellow.